Hey, it's Lee from Best at Losing. I'm getting pretty good at mentioning the channel name. Not that it applies to anything I show during the videos. Um, I promised a bigger video game pickups episode, I guess. What do you call this? Just video. We'll just call it video. And I think I delivered in terms of the price I paid. Certainly not that much volume, but I will show you what I got. So I'll start with the smaller stuff. A couple weeks back, I was looking at this game, Alone in the Dark, the new Nightmare, and there were two copies. One had a manual and one didn't. And for some reason, I ended up with the one that did not have the manual when that was the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. So the guy offered to trade them back, like just make a straight up switch. But then I think he kind of had cold feet this week because I forgot my game at home. And he's like, ugh. It felt to him like he was giving me something. And he's right, he was. But it was, theoretically free. But it had been driving me nuts not to have the manual. So I told him, like, listen, I don't even care if I have to give you $5. I just need this manual. It's driving me nuts. He's like, okay, we'll make that deal. So, yeah, it cost me $5. But, I get to be sane again. Actually, that's not true. I get to be closer to sane. I'm not quite sure I've ever been sane, but I got the manual. It's in perfect shape, which is really nice. Then I needed a super cheap game. I had $15 left, and I was like, I don't really care. Well, I don't mind the $15, but I figured I'd get a round number going. So I got this Altered Beast. It's complete. To get it for $15 Canadian, that's a pretty good deal. Master System games now, even the most common games, complete, can run you about $30. It's kind of crazy how the prices have gone up on that. On the low end of the Master System, especially the high end has, it's gone up like every other system, but probably the low end just doesn't really exist anymore, unless you go to a place like this that hasn't repriced in a while. So yeah, Altered Beast, $15, pretty decent. But yeah, the big game I picked up this week is Suikoden 2. And I've already kind of talked about it before, but I always have a list of 5 or so games that I'm targeting a little bit more than others. Just kind of, I have them near the top of my list, just as a most desired type of game. Suikoden 2 was certainly that for me. I bought Suikoden, the first Suikoden, just knowing it was an RPG. And I actually played it, which is pretty rare for me. And I absolutely loved it. The first Suikoden was just so easy to kind of get into, and I didn't feel obligated to keep playing the whole time. I could kind of let it sit for 3 days and then come back to it, and I knew exactly where I was and what I needed to do. And I find with some RPGs, they're so intricate that if I leave it for even one day that I don't play, then I completely forget what I need to do. I'm kind of a fan of a somewhat linear game, and nowadays, well, not nowadays, they've been forever. Kind of some games are just a little complicated, and it's hard to find yourself without using kind of guides and stuff. So I'm hoping Suikoden 2 is similar to Suikoden 1, because I loved Suikoden 1, and I know this one's far more expensive, but the hope is that it's equally good, if not better. This was a lot of money, and I didn't pay that. I think I got a decent deal. I think I paid a little bit less than retail. I really do, but I wasn't that far from retail, and if you look up retail on these games, you can see some pretty high numbers. Like, typically in our area here, I have never seen it for less than 100 and, I would say, at other stores, 180, 185, something in that range. And it can go up to the low 200s. Actually, I think I've seen it for 175 once, but it sold very quickly. And that's how expensive this game is. So I paid a tiny bit less than I think, what average retail is. So I was glad to get that. I do have a non-video game pickup, so I guess I might as well show it. But yeah, while I was at the store, not even the store that I picked these games up at, I went to a different store, and we have a pretty good relationship. And even though I don't really play anymore, they hooked me up with some Magic cards. It's like one of these promo, I guess it's a promotional starter deck. And he also put a couple promo cards inside of it for me. Yeah, I haven't played Magic in a long time. I have been watching a YouTube channel of a guy who talks about the values of sets and things like that, and I find it very interesting. I played Magic in the old days, we'll say, pretty much from just around I would say, was it revised? Right after revised, I guess I started around 4th edition. And I played until around 5th edition, maybe a little bit after. At some point, they centered the writing in terms of who the artist of the card was, and at that point, simultaneously, it's not because the writing was centered, but around that time, I started noticing, man, these cards are a little too strong, and people who've never collected before have a better set coming out of a starter deck than some people that have been collecting forever and building these beautiful sets that have worked for years. I was a little frustrated by how easy the game had become for new collectors, and I got disheartened by that, and I quit the hobby. I also kind of grew up and realized, hey man, I'm in high school and I'm still playing some game at lunch, and I have some more important things to do, like study and just kind of interact with more people. Not that Magic is bad. I think it's actually a very social kind of game, and I did make a lot of friends through it. But yeah, at that point in my life, I thought I had more things to do. Now that I'm a grown up, it'd be a great time to get back into this. It's kind of funny, right? We talk to ourselves and we say, like, I need to grow up and stop doing these things. But then once you are grown up, you realize, oh, those things were the things that brought me happiness, and now I have free time and money to spend on these things. Why don't I go back to these things that bring me happiness? Maybe that's why I have a huge collection of video games that, there's absolutely no reason for me to have it. I wasn't playing that many video games when I was a kid. But, yeah, it's just kind of funny. But, yeah, pickups. This was free. It's pretty sweet. This was $5, so that's not bad. This was like 15, and this was way more than I even want to mention on camera. I don't want to remind myself, in case I ever watch this video again, of how much I paid for this. So, yeah, pretty decent day at the store. Thanks for watching. Bye.